Today I'm going to be showing you how you can build an AI outbound agent to automatically call candidates and screen them, as well as book them in for a job interview with the hiring manager. Now, if we have a look at the workflow for a traditional recruiter or a talent acquisition manager, it generally involves calling the candidate, assessing whether or not they will move to the next step, which involves a job interview with the hiring manager. If a recruiter calls 20 candidates, for an example, and it takes about 10 minutes, that's more than 3 hours of manual work in one role. With an AI voice agent, you can make the same 20 calls all at the one time. So instead of spending hours screening or dialing candidates, all the conversation happens in parallel, and you get the screening and booking done all in the same 10-minute window, which is a really big time saver for the team. In this video, we're going to be looking at ElevenLabs on how you can set up your agent to handle the initial screening for the forklift operator role. Now, this can be any role. So for an example, you might be customer service, call center, or in retail. So instead of calling each candidate one by one, we'll configure the agent so that you can do your batch call and you can call multiple candidates at the same time. It will check key requirements, book the candidates straight to an interview if they're a good fit, and I'll walk you through how it works, the prompt structure, as well as the steps on how you would set it up so that the conversation sounds natural, and then how the agent will connect to Outlook for the meeting invite. And by the end of the video, I'll show you how you can set it up so you can save time, as well as reduce the manual workload and make the whole process a lot smoother than the traditional approach. So our roadmap for today is as follows. We're going to use the ElevenLabs agent feature to set up our outbound talent acquisition manager to conduct a pre-screening process, which consists of asking the candidate 3 pre-qualifying questions related to the role before assessing whether or not to proceed with booking them in for a job interview with the hiring manager. If the candidate meets the screening requirements, the AI agent is going to automatically book them in for the job interview with the hiring manager. Next, we're going to add a knowledge base, which will consist of FAQs and a job description. This way, if candidates ask questions related to the job, the AI agent will be able to answer the questions without the assistance of a human. In the event the AI agent doesn't have the answer or the candidate requests to speak to a human or a real person, such as a talent acquisition manager, the AI agent can transfer the call to the human. We're also going to set up our integration. This will include the integration to our Twilio account to make the outbound calls, cal.com to manage the bookings, such as checking availability, booking the meeting, as well as linking it to Outlook to send through the meeting invites to the candidate as well as the hiring manager. And I'll include all the links to the relevant platforms in the description below. Once you've logged into ElevenLabs, under the Agents platform, select New Agent. In this video, we're going to set up our agent from scratch, so let's select Blank Agent. Here we just need to name our agent. So in this example, we're just going to name it AI Talent Acquisition Manager. This will now take you to the main setup page. So on the top here, you'll see a number of tabs. So the first one being the agent page, which is where you would set up your agent. The workflow method allows you to set up a structured approach in terms of how you manage your agent. Now, this is a new feature that ElevenLabs recently introduced, where you can set up a logic, set up your steps for the agent to follow to complete a task. You can map out the actions, conditions, as well as decision points so that the agent knows what to do. Next is knowledge base. So this is where you store information that your agent uses to answer the questions. So you can add in documents, links to websites, or custom text so that the agent has the right information when responding. And we'll run through this later in the video. The Analysis tab helps you understand how your agent performs. Here you'll see conversation logs. You can listen to the audio as well as see the call transcript, get insights that will help you refine your agent's accuracy as well as behavior. So next up is tools. So tools are the actions that your agent can take, such as calling an API, checking availability, as well as creating the bookings. So this is where we will connect our outbound agent in ElevenLabs to external systems. Under the test tab, this is where you can run test conversation before going live. So it's an easy way for you to check how your agent handles different scenarios as well as make adjustments without affecting real users. The widget tab lets you embed your agent onto a website, similar to what you can see here on the bottom right-hand side. So this is typically to manage inbound inquiries. Now, while we won't be using this feature for this particular use case, the customization option is here so that you can change the look and feel to match your brand. If you'd like to learn more about creating an inbound AI agent, make sure you hit like and subscribe, where I'll share more tutorials on building AI voice agents. And of course, there's the security and advanced settings. Now that we've got our bearings, let's set up our AI voice agent. Now, under the Agents tab, we'll need to add in our system prompt. So think of the system prompt as the brain of the AI agent. So when you get the system prompt right, you're essentially building a smart, reliable brain for your agent, one that understands its role to perform the tasks that we provide it to deliver a consistent user experience. Now let's have a look at the system prompt for our AI talent acquisition manager. So under personality, I've just typed in here, you are a talent acquisition manager based in Melbourne, Australia, working in a high volume recruitment team. You are friendly, professional, highly organised, and confident with the recruitment workflows. Under the environment section, I've typed in here, you are speaking with job candidates who have applied for the role as a forklift operator via phone or as a voice agent. So candidates may be nervous, unclear, or unfamiliar with the recruitment process. Just to provide it with a bit more context, and I've included some variables here. So the variable relates to the candidate's first name, email address, and phone number from the caller's profile. Now this is important because when using the batch calling functionality, we need to make sure that we're capturing these details in the Excel file that we're going to import later for the outbound calls. I'll reference here that the agent has access to the meeting calendar via cal.com in order to check availability as well as book interviews. Now, to provide the agent with a bit more context in terms of the setting, I've referenced here that the candidates may ask questions about the role, ask about the process or next steps. In terms of tone or communication style, here I've just typed in, keep responses warm, polite and concise. So no more than 1 or 2 sentences maximum. I've also asked it to use some friendly affirmation. I've added other requirements around pitch transition. Now, in previous tests, I have found that the agent was a little bit overexcited in some instances. So I've just put in here a bit more descriptive text in terms of how I think it should behave, as well as communication style, so that the call can sound as natural as possible. Under goal, I've just got here, help candidates with questions about the role or process, conduct a structured pre-screening interview, determine whether or not the candidate should progress to an interview with the hiring manager, John Smith. If eligible, book an interview with the candidates through the cal.com booking tool. So as part of the pre-screening process, so the first thing that the agent will do is it will greet the caller using their first name from the caller's profile. Ask them to confirm that they are the person who applied for the role. If not, then ask to speak to that person. So again, I'm just putting in curly brackets variable first name so that the agent can actually use the first name from the file that we upload. The next step, once they've confirmed the identity, is to ask, do you have a few minutes to answer some quick questions about the role? And then moving into the pre-screening questions, I've instructed the agent to ask the question one at a time, so it gives the candidate the opportunity to answer the questions. So the first question would be, can I confirm you have proof of working rights in Australia? And if the candidate answers no, then politely advise that they've not been successful in moving to the next stage. If yes, the next question would be, do you hold a current forklift license? If no, again, advise the candidate they've not been successful. If yes, proceed to the next question. And the third question is, what is your current availability to start? And if they answer something in the realms of that they can start within the 4-week period from today, proceed to the next step. And if it's longer than 4 weeks, as an example, I've just advised the agent to let the candidate know they've not been successful in moving to the next stage, as we're looking for candidates to start as soon as possible. Now, if the candidate meets all 3 requirements, I've advised the agent to proceed with the interview scheduling by letting the candidate know we would like to move you to the next stage of the process and to schedule you in for an in-person interview with the hiring manager. Would you like to go ahead? And if yes, the agent will ask, would you prefer a morning or afternoon interview? And then once the candidate has nominated their preference, the agent is to acknowledge their choice. Now let's walk through the scheduling logic, as this is an important step in terms of getting the interview booked properly. So we'll need to have 2 tools set up. So the first one being Cal Get Available Slots. So this tool checks the hiring manager's availability So to use it, we need to provide the event ID, the start and end range, and the correct time zone. Now, as I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, I've just set the time zone to Australia, Melbourne, as per the setup requirements. Now, if you're in another time zone or country, you just need to apply the time zone as it applies to you locally. Now, the second tool is Cal Book Meeting. So this tool is to create the booking once the candidate is ready to lock in an interview. So again, you need to set the start and end time, the time zone, and the candidate's details. Now, I've just add reference here that the time zone must be in ISO 8601 format, including the Melbourne offset. So the calendar places the interview in the correct time slot. Time formatting is crucial when you're looking at booking in meetings. So I've made reference here that the booking tool must use the full timestamp with the Melbourne offset and to never guess the time, and always use the exact timestamp returned by the Cal Get Available Slots tool to ensure that the booking is correct. Now I've added here further details on how to use the return time slots. So when the agent receives the available slots, it first checks the date range and looks for times within the next 14 days to then filter the options based on the caller's preference, so either the morning or afternoon time slot, and to pick 2 suitable time slots to offer to the candidate. So when speaking to the candidate, the AI agent converts the ISO timestamp into clear Melbourne time, but when it books the interview, it must send the exact ISO timestamp returned by the availability tool. After the booking is successful, we've included in the prompt that the agent needs to confirm the final interview date, time, back to the candidate in local Melbourne time. It will then provide the interview location, and from here the agent is to let the candidate know that they'll receive an email shortly to check whether or not they've got any further question and to finish the call with a warm close. For example, thanks for your time today and all the best at your job interview. Now we need to add in our third tool, which is the Cal Add Guest tool, to add in the hiring manager as a guest to the meeting invite. Now, while the hiring manager is not a guest in the real world, as we're scheduling the meeting invite on behalf of the talent acquisition manager as well as the hiring manager, we'll need to use the Add Guest tool to send the invite to the hiring manager so that it pops up on their calendar. Before we wrap up the system prompt, let's have a look at guardrails. So these are a rule that keeps the agent safe, consistent and professional, as well as aligned with how a real talent acquisition manager would handle the conversation. Now, while this prompt is very detailed, you may not need this level of detail depending upon your use case. Now, the system prompt will evolve over time as you're testing your agent. The goal here isn't to get it right the first time, but for you to refine the prompts along the way. Now, if the conversation doesn't flow, you may need to tweak your workflow or scripts. And if you notice the agent doing things that you wouldn't normally expect to happen in the real conversation, that's usually a sign that you need to fine-tune your prompt. And you can do this by adding in extra instructions or guardrails. So for an example, I added a line earlier to tell the agent not to reintroduce itself halfway through the call. Another one is I've asked it to keep the tone consistent so it doesn't sound overly excited in situations where I felt that the agent was a bit over the top in terms of the excitement. Now back under ElevenLabs under agent, let's just copy and paste our system prompt over. Next, under the first message, we'll just need to add in our script here. So the script here is used for when the candidate picks up the call and the agent will use this script to start the conversation. So in this example, I've just got here, hello, my name is Ben. I'm an AI talent acquisition agent calling on behalf of ABC Warehouse. And I've also added here a short disclaimer message, as well as noted for the agent to specify the purpose of the call. So in this example, I've just got here, I'm calling about the forklift operator role that you've applied for, and am I speaking to, in curly brackets, first name. I've added the curly brackets here to enable the agent to pick up the candidate's first name from the file, so it has a more personalised experience. Over on the right-hand side, you can select your voice. So ElevenLabs literally has thousands of voices that you can pick from, and it's one of the best platforms I've come across in terms of AI-generated voices, and you can even clone your own voice here. To search through their online library, you can select Find More, and here you can clone your own voice or you can select from their voice library. Now, to make it easier for yourself, you can select from a number of presets. So for an example, here we've got customer support, sales, coach or personal assistant. So let's just select customer support. And this will bring up the library related to customer support. So here we have a number of options, including male or female voices, in different accents, such as American accent or a British accent. So let's have a listen to a few examples.
I understand it's all new, but you're doing great. Let's take the next step together to set up your app safely.
This one's most like my regular speaking voice with, I guess, a little bit of a friendly tone, but not like over the top.
Hey, my name's Tiffany. I'm a realistic support agent that doesn't sound fake. It's great for customer support situations.
And they all pretty much sound quite natural. And if you want to add any of these to your voice agent, you can just select from the plus icon and it'll add it to your voice library. And then back under agents, I did have one saved previously that I really liked. So here we've got Ben with an Australian accent. So let's have a quick listen.
My voice is best suited to informative, educational, or children's content, and adaptable for commercial voiceover, depending on the topic.
So Ben's voice pretty much matches the vibe that I'm going for in terms of my talent acquisition manager. So I'll just select Ben here. So in addition to the default English language, you can select from a number of additional languages from the list. However, for our use case, we'll just leave it on the English language. So for the large language model or LLM, here I'm going to select Gemini 2.5 Flash. Now we're going to skip the workflow tab and move on to the knowledge base tab. So in today's video, we're going to be adding in two documents. So the first document is an FAQ sheet related to the role. So for an example, here we have questions about the shift, the warehouse location, details on whether or not the role is ongoing or casual, overtime details, as well as pay rate. The second document is related to the job description. So this way the agent is armed with information required to help the candidate with their questions. If you'd like a copy of these templates, I'll include a link in the description below. Now let's add in both of our documents. Now let's change a few configs under the Tools tab. So for our use case, I want the agent to be able to end the conversation, so I'll just toggle this on. In terms of detect language, I'll just leave this as off. Now I want the agent to skip its turn if needed, so I'll just toggle this on. So if the candidate asks for a moment while they're locating some information as an example, the agent will be on standby rather than jumping in every few seconds asking, "Hi, are you there?" So we won't be using transfer to an agent. However, we need to transfer to a number. So this is where you need to add in the functionality to transfer the call to a human or another department, and you need to add in your rules around the transfer functionality. So here we'll just select Add Rule. Under the Human Transfer rule, you can add in a mobile number or a landline for which the agent will call. And under the Conditions section, I've just typed in here, transfer a call to a human, a line manager, or a talent acquisition manager upon request. This way, the agent will know if the candidate requests to speak to a line manager, a human, or a talent acquisition manager, the agent will be able to transfer the call accordingly. Now, you can also set up multiple rules. So for an example, if the query is relating to relocation or if the query is relating to visa requirements, etc., you can set it up based on the inquiry type. The agent will be able to transfer the call to the correct department. So before we add in our tools, let's have a look at the system integration. So the first integration is with our Twilio account so that we can make outbound calls. Now back under the home page over on the left-hand side, select phone numbers and select import number and then Twilio. Name your agent. So here I've just typed in talent acquisition agent. Enter the phone number and then enter the SID number. Now to get the SID number, go to your Twilio account and here you'll be able to copy and paste your SID number. Next, you need to set up your booking details in cal.com. Now over in cal.com, I have an event set up already for the job interview for the forklift operating role. Now here I've set the availability hours for the interview, and if you need, you can override the times by selecting edit availability. So here I've just blocked out an hour for lunch between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Next in cal.com, you'll need to add in your Outlook calendar. So to do this, select the advanced tab, and here you need to allow cal.com to have access to your calendar. Now it's important to take note of the event type ID, which is the number here in the web link for when you're setting up your tools. Now I'll refer back to this later, but just wanted to point it out here. Now back in ElevenLabs, you'll need to go into integration. You'll need to add in your integration to cal.com as well as your Twilio account. To add in the integration, click on integration. Now to add in both of these integration, you need to get the API key as well as the authorization token. Now I won't go through the process in this video. However, there is plenty of documentation or videos out there that can guide you through the process. As I've already set up the integration, let's go back to the Tools tab. So the first tool we'll need to add is the Get Available Time Slot tool. So here we'll just press select Add a Webhook. And here we'll type in a name. In the description, I've just typed in, this tool checks for a particular time slot is available in the calendar. So this is a GET request. Now let's go over to cal.com API documents and grab the web link. And now let's just copy the URL. And now back in ElevenLabs, we'll just copy the details over. Next, we'll need to add in our headers. So under type, just change this to value and then type in the name as Cal API version and enter the value. The second header that we'll need to add is the authorization key. So click on Add Header again and then type in authorization. Now, if you don't already have this set up, you need to set this up in cal.com. So let's just go over to cal.com, under Settings, API Keys, and then click on Add. And here you need to give it a name. So in this example, I've just typed here Talent Acquisition Agent, and I'll just click Save, copy the API key, and now back under ElevenLabs, under Settings, click on Add Secret, type in a name. So here I've just typed in Talent Acquisition Agent, and now enter the bearer API key. Click on Add. And now this will save your secret code. And now going back to the Cal Get Available Time Slot tool, click on the drop-down box and select Talent Acquisition Manager. Now under the inquiries parameters, click on Add, type in Start as the identifier, and just make sure that the data type is on string and the mandatory box is ticked here. We'll just leave the value type as LLM prompt. In the description here, I've just got start, date and time in UTC, which to fetch the time slots, and I've given an example here to refer to. And now we'll do the same for the end time, so click on Add again. In the identifier, we'll just type in N, and in the description, as we did with the start time, we'll just type in N, date and time in UTC, which to fetch the time slot. Next, we'll need to add in our time zone. So just type in here under the identifier time zone, and in the description, we'll just type in the caller's time zone. Select Add again. So here we've just typed in event type ID as the identifier. In the description, I've just typed in the cal.com event type ID that's used for the booking. And now if we go to cal.com, we'll just need to copy and paste the event type ID in the URL back into ElevenLabs. Okay, so that's the first tool done, and this will enable the agent to look at the available time slot in the calendar to pass to the candidate. So now we'll just click Save. So the next tool we need to add is the Book Meeting tool. So again, click on Add, Webhook, and now I'm just going to call this Cal Book Meeting. And in the description, I've just typed in here, this bull books a meeting in the calendar once the time is agreed. And now for the method, we'll just change this from Get to Post. And now we'll just jump into the API documents to grab the web link. And now we'll just copy the web link here. And if we scroll down under headers, click on Add and add the name as Cal API version and type in the value. This time we'll need to add in the body parameters. So if we scroll down here, in the description box, just type in add details about the meeting based on the conversation. And in the identifier, just type in start, click mandatory. In the description, I've just typed here start time in ISO format, being Australia Melbourne time zone offset, and I've given an example here. And now we'll need to add in our attendee details. So click on Add Property, change the data type to Object. In the identifier, type in attendee, and in the description, type in candidate's details for the interview booking. And now add a new property. This time type in time zone. And in the description, type in candidate's time zone, Australia, Melbourne. Next, add in the email. So click on Add Property, type in email, and in the description, type in candidate's email. Click Add, type in name in the identifier, and then type in candidate's name in the description. Now we'll need to add in our location. So click on Add Property, type in location, And in the description, type in location details for the interview. Click on Add. In the identifier, type in address. Change the value to constant and enter the address. So in this example, I've just typed in here 123 Warehouse Street, Melbourne. And the final one that we need to add is the event type ID. So click on Add again. Type in event type ID. Make sure that the value type is set to constant and type in the event type ID from cal.com and then hit Save. So the final tool we'll need to add is the Add Guest tool. So in the description box, I've just typed in here, this tool adds the hiring manager as a guest to an existing booking in cal.com. And now we'll just refer to the API documents to grab the web link. Again, this will be a post request and we'll just type in our web link. And then similar to before, we'll just need to add in our headers. So here we've got the header name and value. And under path parameters, I've just added a new string with the identifier as booking UID with the description of extract the booking UID returned by the Cal Book Meeting tool and use the value to replace it in the URL. This tells the system to take the booking URL from the meeting that you've just created and use that to tell cal.com which specific booking that you want to add your guest to. And now we need to add in our body parameters. So in the description here, I've just typed in the details of the hiring manager, and now we just need to click Add, change data type from string to array, and in the identifier, just type in guests. And this will automatically add the items. So in the data type, you just need to change this to object. And in the description, just type in guests_item. Next, we'll need to click Add the identifier as time zone. Make sure the type is set to constant value. And in the value, type in Australia, Melbourne. And again, click on Add Property. This time in the identifier, type in email, set the value to constant, and then add in the hiring manager's name. So in this case here, we'll just type in John Smith and then hit Save. Now that we've got all three tools set up, you can now preview or test the agent at any time using the preview button here. For testing purposes, you can dial the agent directly. However, in this video, we're going to be using the Outbound function where we'll need to prepare our CSV file. So in the file, I've added a column here for phone number, first name, as well as email address. This way, the agent is able to call the mobile, reference the candidate by their first name on the call, and send the meeting invite to the email specified in the file. Now, if you have a list of candidates to call, you can add in their details here. So this way, the agent is able to call the candidates in one go. So to create a batch call, click on Outbound, select Add. You need to give it a name. So in this example, I've just got here shortlist candidates for the forklift operator role. You need to select the number that you want to use, as well as the agent. And here you can either select call straight away or schedule it for a later time, and then hit Submit. And now we'll just upload our file, and then once it's updated, we'll set it to call immediately and hit Submit. And now the agent's now calling, so we'll just pick up.
Hello, my name is Ben, and I am an AI talent acquisition agent calling from ABC Warehouse. Just letting you know that this call is recorded and shared with our service provider for quality assurance and service improvement processes. I'm calling about the forklift operator role that you have applied for. Am I speaking to Juliana?
Yes.
Great. Thanks for confirming, Juliana. Do you have a few minutes to answer some quick questions?
Yes, I do.
No worries. Can I confirm you have proof of working rights in Australia?
Yes, I do.
Do you hold a current forklift license?
Yes, I've had my license for 2 years now.
That's great. What's your current availability to start?
I've just finished up my role, so I can pretty much start straight away.
That's excellent news, Juliana. We'd like to move you to the next stage of the process and schedule you in for an in-person interview with the hiring manager. Would you like to go ahead?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Would you prefer a morning or afternoon interview?
I was just wanting to see if you've got any availability for 12 o'clock time slot tomorrow.
I understand you're looking for a 12 o'clock time slot tomorrow. Unfortunately, our interview slots are either in the morning between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. or in the afternoon between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Would you prefer a morning or afternoon interview?
Afternoon would be great.
Okay, great. For an afternoon interview, I have two options for you on Thursday, the 11th of December, 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. Which of those times works best for you?
Thursday, 1 o'clock would be fantastic.
Excellent. Your interview with John Smith is confirmed for Thursday, the 11th of December at 1 p.m. Melbourne time. The interview will be held at 123 Warehouse Road, Melbourne. You'll receive an email confirmation shortly. Do you have any questions?
Oh, sorry, just confirming, what is the address of the warehouse again?
No worries at all. The address is 123 Warehouse Road, Melbourne.
Just wanting to see if you offer overtime and what is the hourly rate, please, for this role?
Yes, we offer overtime during busy periods, and it's paid in accordance with the relevant award or enterprise agreement. The pay rate for this role is $37 per hour.
Great. And do you offer overtime?
Yes, we do offer overtime during busy periods, peak seasons, or when additional support is needed. Shifts are always communicated in advance wherever possible.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Juliana. Thanks for your time today, and all the best at your interview.
So I couldn't quite show you the meeting invite while on the phone with the AI voice agent. However, I'll add it on the screen here. And here you can see that it's added the email to the shared inbox. It's also sent the meeting invite to both myself and the hiring manager. And now if we have a look in cal.com, the event's being created in cal.com to avoid any double ups. Now for a test, that's a pretty good first pass. And if we have a look under the caller's log, under the analysis tab, you can see here that this particular call took less than 4 minutes to complete from start to finish. And now you can always make refinements to the prompt or configuration as needed. So in the call, I asked if there was any availability at the 12 o'clock time slot. And if you recall, we blocked this out in our calendar. So it's actually really good that the AI agent was able to pick this up. It was also able to use the knowledge base to answer my questions. I asked the agent twice whether or not the company offers overtime, and it was pretty patient with me and answered the question again. Let me know below if you think this agent will save you time. Now, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to learn more about how you can save time, you might want to check out the next video on how you can automate your inbox in Outlook. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.